studios with Ken Nyaga, who's the chair of the United Grain Millers Association, seated on my immediate left. And seated next to Mr. Nyaga is Bernard Nguyo, acting director, quality assurance and inspection at KEBS. And seated next to Mr. Nguyo is Japheth Ogutu, executive director at the Consumer Downtown Association. Gentlemen, thank you for joining us this morning. And let me begin with Mr. Nguyo, the man that, you know, you're working in an office, a public office where all Kenyans are now, you know, the spotlight is on you after, you know, a lot of concerns about the food that Kenyans consume every day. Let's begin with the ban that was put by KEBS. When was the test done?
Thank you for having me. I would like to start by saying that Kenya Bureau of Standards, as one of our mandates, we undertake surveillance of products in the market. And this what we do based on we have two approaches to this. We've got what we call planned market surveillance, in which case we go around the country collecting samples at various points. The other approach that we use is also when you get particular complaints from consumers or from various stakeholders raising concerns regarding maybe a particular product that is in the market. In this particular case, our samples were drawn in the month of, we started drawing the samples in the month of October, early October. Precisely, I think we are talking of 3rd of October. And this was one of those planned activities in our market surveillance. Mm-hmm. Yes, to answer your questions, the samples were drawn in the month of October. Results started coming in. We did an evaluation, extent analysis, and so we decided that based on other activities that we had done a little earlier before then, it was appropriate for us now to be able to issue this suspension for the permits. So
I'm just trying to look at it. In the month of October, we're in mid-November, and before you issued, you know, that circular that went, you know, that members of the press will give the media. So would you like to tell us or confirm that then it means Kenyans have consumed poisonous maize flour? Because before you released that, several Kenyans bought the maize flour that you've mentioned. And why did it take long for KEBS to realize that the maize flour in our stocks in the supermarket are actually poisonous?
I think I would like to correct that, because, you know, for us to come to a point saying that this particular product needs to be recorded out of the market, that's not a light decision. You need to be able to know that for certain you have tested, you've got sufficient samples to tell you that there is a problem. Because the nature of the product that we are dealing with is that it may be a local or a localized problem. It could also be a problem that emanates from the production process. So you need to be very sure before you can come out to the public and say that we are recording this particular product, that you have sufficient data to let you know that you have actually a problem. Mm-hmm. So again, the issue of testing, because this time we are talking of around 300 samples drawn. Mm-hmm. It does take time to do all those analysis, the actual testing. It does require time to do the analysis of the information that you are getting from the laboratory. Mm-hmm. And then when you now evaluate, you now come to a point when you say that you can be able to establish for a fact that there's a problem. So I don't think that for us that was overly long in view of the fact that we needed to validate the information that we have.
All right. Yeah. And so, Mr. Ogutu, you know, you come from the Consumer Downtown Association. You're the executive director. This is not the first time that KEBS is finding itself on the spotlight. A month ago, it was about 500,000 poisonous sugar that was in the market.
Yes, thank you. First, I must record and just to go on record that we are a worried country, and consumers are very much worried because of increasing cases of contaminated food in the market. And actually, we as consumer organizations and we've come together. We've done a research. This research was done last year based on the findings that we got on the food safety. We actually established that a lot of fresh produce that are produced in this country, and even those ones that are supplied to our markets, are seriously contaminated. And this report, we've relaunched it, we've released it to various government agencies, including the departmental and ministries that are related to food safety, including the Ministry of Agriculture, the Department of Public Health, even KEBS. But very little has been done, and we continue to see these cases coming up. The other day, it was the sugar, as we said. We've also had meat being contaminated and still supplied into our markets. We've also not had very clear information on how members of the public can actually differentiate fake products from those ones that are counterfeit. That information hasn't come out very clearly. But we are trying as consumer organizations to sensitize members of the public on how to identify those fake products in the market. But above all, there is much that needs to be done. I think the agencies and ministries that are responsible for spot checks and even enforcement need to upscale their efforts in ensuring that we have only those certified products in the market. And how can consumers know that these products are certified? And again, how do we ensure that KEBS also eliminates these people we call unscrupulous traders who are duplicating the KEBS mark into fake products?
Just hold on to that thought about, getting to know the KEBS genuine trademark, because that has always been a concern. And I remember there was a swap that was done also at the KEBS offices in terms of officials working there. We'll get into that later on. But Mr. Nyaga, then who is to blame at the end of the day when it comes to the poisonous? Allow me to call it poisonous because I'm also a Kenyan. Yeah. And, sadly, when KEBS released that list of some maize flour, and sadly the thing is I bought some brands and I really don't know whether I've consumed poison or not. So who's to blame at the end of the day? Is it the farmers who maize farmers, because it talks about having aflatoxin once the maize has been harvested in terms of storage. So is it KEBS? Is it the farmers? At the end of the day, who's supposed to get the blame?
Okay, thank you very much, Blenda. Now, I'm one person who believes that for there to be an effect, there has to be a cause. And we are talking of aflatoxin, the whole country now is on aflatoxin, and especially on maize, on unga, and this other thing. I really want to commend KEBS for the work that they are doing. But all I'm asking, we cannot actually win the war on aflatoxin if we have to deal with the effect that we are seeing. We have to go to the root cause of it. And the root cause is not actually the processor, it's not actually the farmer. The government should come in, and I think, Mr. Guyo, you are aware, there is something that can be done right from the farmer, from the soils that we are getting this food from, because actually that's where now aflatoxin emanates from. The government should be able to give these farmers some of the pesticides that can kill this fungal. Otherwise, when we come now to hijack this problem, when it has come to the level of processing, it becomes very difficult. And especially we millers, we normally have some challenges, let me say so. This is not something, when we talk of a consumer, it can be my mother, it can be my brother, it can be my sister. So when it comes to food safety, we are actually very, very, very careful about it. So the whole thing, I would say it trips down to the government. It should know what to do. For example, of late, we've been importing maize from Uganda. And Mr. Guyo, you can attest to this. There has been very high levels of aflatoxin from maize from Uganda. So what we are asking is, as millers, why can't KEBS set a testing center in those entry points, so that by the time the maize is coming, what we only need to ask for is a certificate of aflatoxin free to show that the maize is free from aflatoxin. Otherwise, when it comes to us, Brenda, it becomes also, there are challenges that are there. And a big challenge. Yes.
So as the Association of Maize Millers in this company, you're the chair. Yeah. When KEBS released the list of the companies that need to recall back the products from the supermarket so as to ensure that safety measures are taken, was the Association of Millers involved in the testing? And were you informed by KEBS that these are the products that you were targeting?
No. Actually, we just came to know through the papers the way you did. I mean, you are the guys who told us now there is this that has come out. I even called one of my members because out of my 100 members, I think I have only one in that list. And I called him. He was also informed about it actually on Fridays when he was being called for this letter. So even when the test was done, we didn't know. But we wanted actually to start working with the KEBS so that they may tell us how they are going about these things. Because you see, they are also getting us, they are getting us unaware. We are not saying what they are doing is bad. It's good. Try to inform the consumer of this and this is not, we are not against that. But actually let us be involved in this process. There is nothing wrong. If Nyaga is caught with this product is bad, and it's true I've been able to be shown Mr. Nguyo, I have no problem. What now we need to do as an association, I've been able to talk to my executive committee. We need actually to get KEBS. We sit down with them and we see how to go about it.
All right.
Yes.
So when it talks about, one of the milling company that's in the list and was not aware, my question is, then at what point did you realize that the maize flour in a supermarket are not fit for human consumption? And did you consult, not really consulting, but did you inform some of these companies that are on the list that your product is not fit for human consumption and you're going to do a laboratory test so that they can also be part of it? Because when you look at a company that manufactures maize flour, they say that this is witch hunt. The product is clean.
Okay, thank you for that question. Now, we involve industry, if I may generalize that, at various levels. First, we involve them at the level of the development of the standard, which basically brings together stakeholders, the industry, the consumers, the regulators, and those people who do research, the scientists, to come up with a standard. Once the standard has been developed and it becomes now a legal document for implementation, again, we involve industry during the time of processes prior to certification. And when we identify that maybe the processes or the final product is not living up to the standards, the first point of contact is usually the company that's doing that product. And we agree within 10 days on a framework of corrective actions that they may need to do in the processes. At the market level, for obvious reasons, then the KEBS as a regulator, we cannot be able now to carry along all these teams again to go to do the market surveillance. At that point, we are exercising our role of protecting the consumer. Because the industry has been taken through a process of certification, they are responsible for placing the product that conforms to the standards in the marketplace. So once the product is there at the marketplace, then it is the supplier and the consumer. And at that particular time when you are doing market surveillance, our role and our objective is to ensure that the consumer is receiving the product that meets the standard.
So if I may cut you short, my question is, so before this maize flour that are already in question were put in the market, on the shelf for consumers to buy, was a KEBS a part of the quality assurance standards that are required, such that even after it will not require KEBS to do another test? Because it looks like what Kenyans are asking, then didn't KEBS do a test for this maize flour before it went to the market? Or what happened in between production and the sale?
Okay, if you allow me, let me just explain to you how product certification works worldwide. Product certification is an assurance system that a company puts in place process controls to ensure that the final product meets the standards. So when you are talking of this flour being certified to be allowed to be put in the market, the company develops, with our guidance, because at that point we provide the guidance, they develop the controls that are necessary in receiving of the raw materials. The companies then develop quality control points at each of the stages that are critical to contribute to the quality of the final product. Then the company develops the rejection acceptance criteria for the final product, which basically means once you have now the final product, you need to be doing tests for every batch. All those are controls that are supposed to be done by the company. Because this company is responsible, according to the law, it is the supplier who is responsible for placing a product in the market that meets the standards. So Kenya Bureau of Standards will come to test on surveillance basis, because we cannot be able to test, neither do we have the resources to test every batch for every manufacturer. We've got more than 300 brands, I think 207 brands. We cannot be at the factory floor every day, testing every shift, testing every batch. That is the role of the manufacturer, because he's the one who is selling the product to the consumer. So once that has now been achieved, that he has given us a level of assurance that they have put in place a system that can guarantee the output, then we issue the product certification mark. And that product certification mark is now allowing the company, okay, if you maintain these controls, then you can place your product in the market.
All right.
But at the market level, when you are doing monitoring, we are surveying to ensure, is this company adhering to the controls that they said they are going to do?
Yeah. All right. So the maize meal flour companies adhering to the standards that are required by KEBS. I'm also a worried Kenyan as I speak to you, because I mean, part of the maize flour company that was put on the spot, I actually bought it and consumed it. So I ask you also, do you think the ugali you're eating is safe? Do you think the ugali you're eating is safe? As Brenda said, Aradido here at KTN News Center, I'm not sure whether the ugali I'm eating is safe. All that will be answered by KEBS, because we have, the man on the spot, the company KEBS, just to answer so many questions. You also have the consumer, representative, and also the Maize Millers Association, also just to answer some of the questions that Kenyans are asking. Taking me to a fast commercial break. But when we come back, we shall be talking about matters, food safety in a country. Just how safe are we when it comes to the food that you consume on a daily basis? So do you think the ugali you're eating is safe? At KTN News KE, @Z Brenda, beginning with the hashtag KTN News Center. Allow